launch. Both of the books are on sale, by the way. None of you are going out of here without buying it, so don't even try. Yes. Don't even try to get out of the shop without buying the book tonight. We put them together and this magical thing happened. Zaheera flew and she wrote this incredible book. And you can ask her anything you want tonight. She's opened her heart to all of you tonight with no judgment whatsoever. When we said we were going to have a launch, she said, I'm going to have only 2 people at my launch, Deborah. I'm going to only have 2 people at my launch. Miss Walker, 2 has turned into I don't know how many tonight. And for that, please give her a round of applause. She's worked tirelessly with Ashley Janakra and Tamsin Bester. This book is so beautiful. Beautiful chaos, beautiful cover, beautiful woman. I am so honored to have her second book at Skoobs, and I know there's going to be a third, fourth. So I'm thanking you, all of you that have come so far, for coming to Skoobs Theatre of Books, and please carry on supporting South African authors. So without any further ado, we are going to have a song, and I'm going to introduce you to Finley. Can we give him a round of applause and we can get the show on the road. Guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Please, oh please, come for me. You know what, we have a marketing tool to spread books. Please have a photograph taken with the book. Hold the book, spread the word, put it all over Facebook, Twitter, you name it. This is how we sell books. This is how we get it out. We should be proud of what we've got. So without any further ado, Finley is going to now sing for you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. It is such an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be around you guys, and I'm so proud of Zaheera. It's just amazed me beyond measure. We were in school together, actually, high school and all the way through, and went our separate ways in Johannesburg and me in Durban. But she's just such an inspiration to where we come from, and it speaks a lot to. I mean, if any of the other Phoenix people were, you know, those things or dreams are completely impossible to imagine that you would publish something eventually one day, and to do it incredibly as she has done, and not just a work, but real true work of art. We're just so proud of her. So she's requested that I sing a song. I don't know the chords of the song, so I hope you appreciate it a cappella. It's very dear to her, and again, kudos to Zaheera. What would I do without your smart mouth, drawing me in, you kicking me out? Got my head spinning, no kidding, can't bring you down. What's going on in that beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy, don't know what hit me, but I'll be alright. My head's under water, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end, you're my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning, 'cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Whoa, yay. Zaheera Walker, everybody. Well done, my friend.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley. Hi Ashley! I am really blessed to have been part of Zaheera's journey on writing Beautiful Chaos. In September last year, Zaheera was here at my book launch for Cirque, and she asked if I could help her, and I said, come and sit at my table and we'll walk the journey together. And you have, and it's here, and it's amazing. So lots of indie authors come across my dining room table over the last year. There's a good few of them in the house that have sat at my dining room table this year. So the last week I've been reading a book about the emotional journey of being a writer by Jennifer Probst. And there's a quote in it that I want to start with tonight, because I told Zaheera in the beginning when she said she was afraid, what did I tell you? Write it down. When you sit down to create, you must be brave enough to rid yourself of societal expectations and the crushing cliques of civilization forces on us. You may hurt or embarrass your family. You may need to hide your books from your children. You may find people from your past rise up to confront, judge, or mock you. You may face harsh reviews from a world that wags its finger and admonishes you to get dressed and write nicely, fully clothed. Don't. Write naked from your soul. Jennifer Probst. The book is called Write Naked. If you're a writer, you need it. So, Beautiful Chaos is romance. You know, that genre that everyone goes, oh, you write romance. But it's amazing, and we're allowed. So, my first question for Zaheera tonight is, after Deadline, because I read Deadline as well, what made you decide that it was time for the romance?
Hello everybody. I'm so glad to see so many people around here. Facebook friends who've come here for the first time. People who've traveled the miles. Thank you so much. I'm the sort of person who believes that you cannot fit into a box. I don't believe that you should write one genre. If you don't explore, you don't know where your strengths lie. So writing romance was scary, but I knew that if I did not try it, I would not be able to address my fears. And I went into it without thinking, but I'm one of those old-fashioned people. I believe in true deep love. So I sat down, I had guidance from seasoned authors like Ashley and Tamsin, and we had those writing journeys around this wooden table that you guys will hear about. And I did it, and I loved it. And who knows, my next book will be probably a different genre, but always seek something new, try something different, and that is where you will find yourself.
So I had the pleasure of being with Zaheera right from inception, when she had the idea behind the book, or the people behind the book, I should say. So it was amazing to watch her come alive as she wrote Beautiful Chaos, because I really think you did come alive. I think this story was your Write Naked, you bared your soul, and it shows in every page, in every chapter. There were cry chapters, there were smile chapters, and there were laugh chapters. So I want you to tell me and everyone here a little bit about the inspiration, about the people behind the story, about the journey you had writing Beautiful Chaos.
Nerves. I believe that when you sit with your grandchildren, you want to give them a beautiful love story of how you met grandpa or grandma. You know, I was married for 12 years, and it was a fairy tale. I met my husband in a coffee shop. He walked up to me and asked me if I'll marry him, and 3 weeks later we were married. So that is a beautiful story. That's a fairy tale. But with this, behind Beautiful Chaos, it was totally different. I met a friend on Facebook. Well, his picture just popped up on the timeline, and there was just something about him that appealed to me. We became friends, we chatted, and when I went home in October last year, I met him for the first time, and he was this ideal person. You know, it was like someone I dreamed him into life. He was the perfect Muslim, the perfect everything. And each time he spoke, I hung on to every word. He was the person I wanted in my life to lead me in prayer, to take me on pilgrimage. He was just perfect in every way. And when I left on the second day, I felt like I left a part of my heart in Durban, and I just could not sleep. I thought about him all the time. It's weird because that's not like me. And that is when I needed to do something, sort of leave a legacy, you know, a dream, a book, a poem, something, just to show him that he was appreciated. And I guess that is when I spoke to you, Ashley, and you told me that it's best to pour my heart out on the pages of a book. And that is how Beautiful Chaos was born.
So for all the authors in the house, this one. Our first book is our learning curve. We don't call it a mistake, it's a learning curve. We learn from book number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And you take what you've learned and you put it into book 2.
Absolutely.
And I was privileged and I got to hold Zaheera's hand as she walked through taking what she'd learned and putting it into Beautiful Chaos. And I'd like you to share with us something you learned about the actual writing, about the craft, about being an author in Beautiful Chaos.
Your first book will always be your baby. And I wanted to write that right deadline since forever. I just want to mention that I don't write books to become famous. That's not the intention. And I'm in a privileged position because I am employed. So I write books because I enjoy it. It's therapeutic. But I made a lot of mistakes at deadline. I didn't have the people to guide me. And when I came to Skoobs, I learned so much. There were people here that showed me where my weaknesses were, the mistakes I made. And I did not want to spend a fortune getting Beautiful Chaos published. So when I sat down to write, the words flowed much easier because the first book was a practice run, and the second book was easier. You knew how to plot. You knew how to introduce your twists and your turns, and how to make the story feel real. Because Beautiful Chaos doesn't have pictures. It's got words, but when you read those words, you can visualize, and that is a strength that gets better and better with each book. And you are going to ask me, when's the next book coming?
Yes.
The next book is coming pretty soon, and that is going to be so hot.
It's only the naughty corner. So I have this love-hate relationship with book covers. And you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but I judge your book by its cover every time. So Zaheera came to my house and we were waiting for Tamsin to arrive, and we were sitting making coffee and chatting about her cover, and she was telling me her cover idea, and internally my head was going. And I opened up a Facebook group that I belong to, where a group of designers come together and design covers that can be purchased. And I was like, just scroll through and look what is selling in the genre. And how many minutes later did you have a cover, Zaheera? So Zaheera got her cover the very first day we met, and it is gorgeous. And it speaks to make your cover perfect for your story. So you said what's next is coming soon, and it's hot. And how soon is that?
We don't like to be kept waiting.
Yeah, this waiting thing bothers Deb. a lot.
Well, you know, when I wrote Deadline, I was asked, okay, so how many months do you think you're going to take? And I gave you Deadline in 5 weeks. So I don't want to surprise you, I don't want to disappoint you. You could get it in the next month. You can.
Yeah, really? No pressure.
No pressure. Look, when I look, there are different types of authors, but I feel like when I write my story, I need to feel it. I need to be in there. I need to be in the moment, and I don't set deadlines. I know my first book is called Deadline, but I don't like to be boxed. I need to feel the feels. You know, it's got to be right, because when you are in the right frame of mind, then the words come much easier. So I don't want to commit to a time, but I promise you something good, something very sexy is coming your way.
So this time you canned the publisher and went indie, which is the best way to go because you're the boss.
Way to go. Yeah.
Was that, do you feel like you made the right choice? And how has it changed your perception of publishing, being part of the indie community?
Last question, Ash.
I think most people sitting in this room would like to get a book published so that you leave a legacy and people will remember you as the person who wrote the book. Well, I was one of those people, and my dream was to be published by this company called Kwela. I think they publish local South African authors, but believe me, it's not easy. You could write the best book, but you could go to the bottom of the pile, and you could probably wait years and years, and then maybe just a couple of months before you kick the bucket, then they'll decide to publish you. I'm sorry I couldn't wait so long. And then I started researching indie authors, and boy, I tell you, I haven't looked back.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things ever. We have meetings here at Skoobs, right, where you guys are sitting once a month, once on a Friday or a Saturday. It alternates. And there's so much of energy, skill, expertise. We help one another. I think when it comes to being an indie author, it's all about paying it forward and sharing the dream. And, you know, like Ashley says, if you spend 5 minutes a day lifting somebody up, what a beautiful world we live in. And I have to agree. You know, when you are published by a traditional publisher, like, I can't think of a name right now, you don't have carte blanche to do anything. You don't decide where your books are going to go. You have to fit according to the template that they have in their mind. But I promise you, with being an indie author, you have the freedom to decide where your books will go and how far it should go. You know, I'm born Muslim. And there's certain things that you're allowed to do, there's certain ways that you're supposed to act, and certain ways you're supposed to read, and everything is certain. Certain doesn't work with me. So being an indie author has allowed me to write the stories that I like to read, to write the stories that I know you want to read, but you're too afraid to ask for it. So this platform, self-publishing, indie author style, is the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have some fun questions. So, for Sean, from the Bibliomaniac, what's your writing snack?
Yeah.
I have a weird taste.
Oh,
Hey?
come on.
Weird. No, I gotta give you the details. Brie cheese with raspberry comfort.
Yeah.
Dried fruit, biltong,
Yeah.
nuts. Yeah, that gets me going with lots of liquids to wash it down with. But brie cheese, that's the way to go.
When you're not writing and you're not working, what do you do to let your hair down and really just have fun?
Truth, the whole truth.
All of it.
I would like to think of myself as a very sensual person. I write erotica, but I'm not going to tell you my pseudonym. It just allows you to escape, you know, to be somebody else. But something else that I do, and you guys are not going to believe me, Queen of the Nile, Egypt, coin belts, shimmy shake. You getting me?
Yeah.
Belly dancing. I belly dance. And to give you proof, just give me a second.
I can barely dance, but not belly dance.
Can you do the chicken?
My coin belt.
That's not proof, that's a prop.
I'm not gonna let you off. Sorry.
Show us. Where's the music? My friend, just wait. Yeah! Woo! It's on Facebook. No.
So you've joined the romance authors now. We live there in the corner, the naughty corner downstairs. Over there facing the back where no one can see our dirty covers and our naughty nonsense. We're there in the corner. When I started writing, every second person was like, so what do you write? And you're like, romance, and they like give you the side eye, like, and then you enter this romance indie author community, and it is huge and it's amazing and it's overwhelming sometimes. Do you feel like you are part of our romance community now that Deadline's out there?
You mean beautiful chaos? Yeah, you know, romance is boring. I mean, this guy likes girl, they kiss, get married, whatever. But romance is so much more. It's, you get dark romance, you know, like really dark, like Ashley's books, Cirque. You guys have got to read that book. With me, my romance stories are written from a South African perspective, you know. My stories are local because local is lekker always, you know that, eh? And I write about things that appeals to us, the things that we think about and we're too afraid to address, and it's happening in our societies. So what I write is very current, and you know, I feel that a lot of what I do is things that I've experienced somehow, and I don't just write it as a novel, but I try to leave a message there. And I hope that those of you who are going to be reading Beautiful Chaos, please read with an open mind. Read in between the lines. And I hope that you take something back from this book, whether it's for you or for your children down the line or for a relative. Use it to improve your life. So it's not just a story, it's a story with a message, a very deep-seated message. And I hope that you will appreciate that.
Okay guys, Zaheera has some thank yous to say, and then I'm going to welcome Anusha to have a few words, and then I will let you guys ask some questions so you can have some time to think about them.
I would like to thank Finley. When you heard Deborah's background about me and how scared I was, a little girl that came here, and I got so scared I left after chatting to her, because you know, I thought putting a book launch together is damn so expensive and I can't do it and I don't know where to find the people. I saw Finley as a high school classmate in 1992. And you know, life took us on different paths, and I lost contact with him. But hey, thanks to Facebook, I found him again. And I didn't have to ask him. I just told him that I'm going to launch my book, and I hope you and Brantina can come through and be there for me. And Philly asked me if there's anything I would like, and at the time I didn't know what to ask. And I mean, you heard his golden voice, and he's awesome. You know, from the young, 13, 14-year-old guy that I saw in high school. God, you're so handsome, eh? But he was my classmate, so yeah, I didn't like him. And I remember my 16th birthday, you were there, and we danced, and we've come so far, you know, the simple people from Phoenix. We didn't have, our future didn't look very bright, but look at us now. I want to thank you for being here tonight. Brantina, thank you as well. Thank you for singing that song. I loved it. It was beautiful. It fit in with the theme. You just made everything so perfect. Fully rocks, doesn't he, guys? And I think he has a band. I'm not too sure. You can get the details from him. Okay, and I also want to thank, see the guy sitting over there, Emil. I met Emil, I think it was last year. I work for the city of Johannesburg, a property company, and he was a service provider. He does so much. I actually don't even know everything that he does. But he sort of does, he dabbles in design and I think he wrote script writing and he plays the guitar. I didn't want to just come here and talk about my book. I wanted someone to share the platform with me, and I mean, all these the beautiful art lying around, it's all done by him. There's a sexy woman somewhere, I can't find that. Yeah. He told me she sat there naked for 2 hours. I need to. So yeah, he's very talented. He's offered to come here today and put up his art, which is available if you're interested. He does you know, book covers. If you want to write a book, speak to him about designing a cover. He knows his game, and I'm not singing his praises here, but I've seen his work. So Emil, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm missing a few people. I was meant to see, I don't know if she's here, a fashion designer, or she's not here, or maybe she's stuck in traffic. And I was going to have someone here who designs jewelry. It's called Pearls to Paradise, but I'm not. Oh my God! I'm so sorry. How are you, Zuleika? You look so different. Okay, Pearls to Paradise. I met her at a women's networking breakfast in Emiratia. I was just gonna go and meet this photographer, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I met Zuleika, and her art is so beautiful. She's here with her husband, and he told me he was watching TV one night, and she brought this beautiful piece. Do you have any with you? And she said, "What do you think about this?" And you know, I think you're into marketing, and he saw potential in that, and she showcased her work in Emiratia, beautiful pieces. And I invited her because I want you to know that if you're creative, you can do just about anything. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Hey, how are you? Okay, that gentleman that just walked in, he's from Durban. Imagine Durban actually came here to honor me. Oh. Okay, do you want to come here? His name is Ilyas, and he has the franchise for Paparazzi's. They are going to be launching, it's the only one that you'll have in Johannesburg. I think on the 1st of May, it's going to be opening up in 4 ways. So if you guys are looking for something sweet, Paparazzi's is the place to go. He's going to be at 4 Ways Mall. Ilyas, thank you so much for being here. I'm like crying now. There's so many people, so much love. And I think it was on the 24th of March, I went to a fundraiser for Little Choices. Hey, I got the name right. I met Auntie Ray, and I learned about everything that she does to help teenage moms. Her story touched me in so many ways because a lot of things that she spoke to me about, I can relate to. You are here and I'm so grateful. I didn't think you guys would come through because everything is so far. But I'm so glad you're here. It's, I love you deeply. Thank you so much. And we have I don't have family here as such. My family is my Facebook. And I've met some awesome people. In December, I came and sat here and I told Deborah, there's this person that I see on Facebook, and whenever he posts things in the morning, sometimes I'm feeling so down, but his words lift me up. And I'm so scared to ask him to come to my book launch. Can you do that for me? Deborah won't bail you out because she believes you've got the strength to do it yourself. So I sent him a message and I said, hey, I'm going to have a book launch. I know I don't know you very well, but will you honor me? And he says, yeah, sure. And we've become so much closer since then. And he's introduced me to a whole lot of people that we call our tribe. Ilham, thank you so much. This guy rocks, hey. Anything and everything he does has got such style. Oh. I wanted the best Persian carpet for him, but money can't buy that. He deserves perfection. Thank you. And Aisha, I met Aisha on Facebook. I'll just like and comment on stuff, but then I found out that she wrote a book and she launched it here. And again, I said, Deborah, I would love to have her here, but I don't think she'll come. And she's sitting right there, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for being here. 2 months ago, I met this awesome man who was so well groomed, and he was like a love story. He spoke about the love that he shared with his wife, and these are people you want to look up to. And because I'm launching romance, I followed everything he posted on Facebook, and a month ago I was in this place called Roshni. I didn't even know it existed. And when I posted on Facebook, the community is so warm, and he said, why don't you come home for tea? And we've become so close. Sometimes when I'm feeling down and I need advice, or I feel like crying, and I inbox him and we chat. He's here tonight, and I'm so moved that you made the effort to be here with your beautiful wife. So thank you so much. I love you. I love him so much. And I told you guys I was married for 12 years, and my husband is now in heaven. And on the 29th of April, on Saturday, it's going to be 5 years that I've been on my own. And he may have left me physically, but he's left me with so much. And Mikhail's sister Susan, they've been with me through so much. I graduated last year in October, and I had no one. Mom and Dad couldn't be here. But Susan and George, they're sitting in the back. He may be gone physically, but I love you guys so much. And Teresa's here as well. Family bonds are never broken. Thank you for being here. Thank you for honoring him and for loving me always. Moving on, I want to call Emil to chat to you about his art and to guide you whenever you need guidance, and I hope you guys will network. Emil? A bit shy, so be patient.
Well, let's start with the naked lady. Yes, that woman did pose for 2 hours naked, and believe it or not, it is fun keeping the blood in your head where you gotta focus, not anywhere else. So yeah, so my business is called Assembly Area, and what I do is not just art, but because I deal in communication, I think that is my benefit to you when it comes to book cover design. And you know, when I used to be a creative director in ad agencies not too long ago, I used to always tell my studio, your art or your work must do two things. Number one, it cannot just look pretty. It must have a message. It must have substance behind it. You know, what are you trying to communicate? And then number two, it has to look pretty. So it must achieve two things. So yes, I've done book cover designs, CD cover designs, and then your traditional advertising, social media as well. So look me up on Facebook. I'm currently updating my website at the moment. But speak to me after, during the catch-up time, and I'll give you a business card.
And I'm going to call Nusha Singh. Nusha is a businesswoman, and she's a social entrepreneur, and she is from the International Inspiring Women's Network Foundation. I hope I've read that right. I read it my glasses. And she's going to come up and say a few words.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually such an honor to be here among some friends and kindred spirits, and that too. I'm very, very excited, and I think what we need to do is stand up and give Zaheera Walker a big round of applause. Come on. Thank you very much. I met Zaheera some time ago, and we are not close, but I think sometimes when you meet someone, you do realize that they are a kindred spirit. We both come from KZN, and she calls it Phoenix from the end of the world that she comes from. But I realized that International Inspiring Women Network Foundation, I'm the founder and CEO of that organization, passionately advocates women living and participating fully. And that is what Zaheera Walker epitomizes. Yes, she's here in her red high heels with a rose in her hand, but I'm sure she's equally at ease in the kitchen and as a parent and as an employee at work. And that is the amazing thing about women. You know, I realized we are all just so empowered. And empowerment to me as a woman means that you can learn. So during life, you evolve, you redefine yourself. So you may have lost, you may have been married, you may have been born into a Muslim community. However, it doesn't matter, but the fact is that you are still learning. The second thing about an empowered woman is labor. I think that word comes very naturally when you're born as a woman. You know, you go into labor and you continue to labor throughout life. You nurture, you parent, you work, you cook, you create beautiful things, you write, you visit lands of adventure within your mind because your society limits you. You revise your belief systems because you are not at ease. There's beautiful chaos within your mind that spills over into your life and your community and your society. The one thing that I love about Johannesburg, when I came here, and when I see that skyline, to me, it's my New York. It's a city that allows me to be different because it is indifferent to me. And I can be whoever I choose to be. But which brings me to my third point. You have learned, you have labored, but most importantly, only when you sit in your full, authentic identity, you can lead. So today, Zaheera Walker, I am here to honor you and not lecture. So, as an empowered woman, I wish you well. I honor you. I salute you. Most importantly, I am with you. Women, we are the wind beneath each other's wings so that we all can soar further, higher, and wider. So let's give Zaheera Walker another round of applause. I love being at Skoobs. Thank you to my hostess, Deborah, for making it possible. I love the courage. I love the courage that comes through in this room. Yes, we all have fear residing within us, but when you're here, when you commit to that book, like this amazing woman who has done 9 books in 27 months, at an average of 3 books a month, I realized that I actually had a fear of commitment. I don't know how I stayed married for 25 years, because that was one aspect of commitment. But I haven't put my pen to paper yet. Yet I have so many stories within me, like you do, and you do, and you do. So to all the women authors in this room, and to all the authors in this room, and most importantly, to every person in this room, let's connect, let's share, and let's tell the story, and let's put that story in a book. Thank you very much. All the best to you.
Okay, so if you guys have time enough to think, if you want to ask Zaheera anything.
Zaheera, I would like to know what your erotic pseudonym is. The only question I have for you,
You might want to just tell
I
us.
will find it.
Authors with pseudonyms that don't give away their identity sell 70% more books than authors who give away their identity.
Will you at least WhatsApp it to me later?
Then I think we're done.
I waited for this moment for so many months, and today was the day that my dream came true. It was fun putting this together. It was taxing. It was. I was proud and I was nervous, and I felt everything that needed to be felt, and everything that I wanted for today, I got. Thank you to everyone in this room. I do apologize if I'm not looking at you. Your presence here has made this day so perfect. I don't think I can ever repay you. And let us help each other, let us support each other, and let us grow together. Have a good evening.